All right, now let's move on to triangular prisms. These ones are slightly different, same concept, same formula like I said, but we're going to have to take into account some other issues. So let's take a look. Letter C. We have a triangular prism, 6 meters this distance, 5 meters across the bottom, 2 meters going back, and this hypotenuse, this diagonal length is 8 meters. Okay, now they have a right angle drawn in there, so we know that this is a right triangle, and that's important to know. So with a triangular prism, or any prism other than a rectangular, it's imperative, it's super, super, super crucial that you use whatever the special shape is. So here, this triangle is a special shape. These have to be my bases, okay? If I were to sketch in the background, what's going on behind here that we can't really see because it's all shaded in, we can't see that rectangle there, or this bottom rectangle, and we can see this slanted rectangle. Those are all the faces that are formed by rectangles. The bases have to be our triangles. So when I go ahead to identify my base, it has to be that triangle. I'm going to go ahead and label it now like we did above. This distance here is 6 meters. It is a right triangle. The distance across the bottom is 5 meters. And this long slanted side, known as the hypotenuse, we'll talk about that in chapter 9, is 8 meters. Okay, so we have all of our sides of just the base triangle labeled. So I'm going to go ahead and start to do what I was doing before. I need to identify my capital B, capital P, and H. Now, the area of this base, this is my base here. Now I need to find the area of it. The way that you find the area of a triangle is using another formula. It's 1/2 base times height. We should be familiar with that by now. The area of a triangle is found by doing 1/2 the base times the height. So 1/2, the base here is 5, and my height is 6. So 1/2 the base times the height. You can multiply these in any order. Cumulative property of multiplication says we can multiply 5 times 6, get 30, and take half of that, which is 15. I can take half of 5 and get 2.5 times 6, which is 15. Or I can do half of 6, which is 3, times 5 is 15. The point is, whether you follow that or not, you can multiply these in any order. Your answer is going to be 15. So I get 15 meters squared for the area of my base. Now I go on to find the perimeter of my base. Perimeter of my base is just going to be adding up all the sides. So 5 plus 8 plus 6. Okay, so 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 plus 5 is going to give me 19 meters. Okay, now the last thing we need to identify is our height, and that's the height of the prism. So again, go back, and the number that you haven't used yet is going to be the height of your prism. So I go to look at my numbers. I've used 6, that was in this base. I've used 5, I've used 8. The number I haven't used yet is 2. So 2 meters. Okay? So now we're ready to start solving. Surface area is equal to capital 2 times capital B plus capital P times H. So that's 2 times 15, because my capital B, the area of my base, was 15. My perimeter was 19, and my height was 2. 2 times 15 is 30. 19 times 2 is 38. I'm going to add them up, and I get 68, and don't forget to label meters squared. Nice job, guys. All right, one more. Let's try another triangular prism. So the formula is the same. Again, I'll give you formulas on a test. You don't have to have them memorized, but you do have to know how to use them. I'm not going to help you with that. So we want to first identify our base. It's a triangular prism, so we have to choose the triangle as our base. So I'm going to draw out this triangle, drawing in all of the dimensions that they give us. This is my height, and I know that because it's straight down through the middle of the triangle, and it's marked with an H. And that was the same case over here. This right angle, you could have thought of that as a H, which is why it's your height. All right, so I have my height, and they tell me that that's 11 millimeters. The distance across the bottom is 10 millimeters. Now, you might get confused, but the slanted side is also going to be the same as that back slanted side. And the back slanted side is 14, so this is 14 as well. Now I'm going to tell you, because I made the problem up, that this is an isosceles triangle, so that means these two sides are the same. So this side here is also 14 millimeters. All right, so we have a lot going on here, a lot of different dimensions. Going around the outside, it goes 14, 10, 14. And then this long straight line up the middle, which is only the height, is 11. All right, so let's start solving. We need to find all of our different components. First, capital B. Capital B is found by doing 1/2 the base times the height, because that's how you find the area of a triangle. So I'm going to substitute in 1/2. The base of this triangle is 10. The height of this triangle is 11. 1/2 times 10 is 5. 5 times 11 is 55. So it's 55 millimeters squared. Then I move on to find my perimeter of this base. So that's going to be 14 plus 14 plus 10. This 11 was only the height. That has no bearing on anything outside of the triangle. So 14 plus 14 plus 10 is going to give me 38 millimeters. And then lastly, I have my height, which is the only number I haven't used yet. I've used this 11. I've used the 14. I've used the 10 because it was my base. I haven't used this 4 yet. So 4 millimeters it is. So now that I have all of the different pieces, I can substitute them into the formula. 2 times the area of the base plus the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. 2 times 55 plus 38 times 4. 2 times 55 is 110 plus 38 times 4 is 152. When I add both of those together, I get 262 millimeters squared. Okay, and again, it's area, so you square it. Nicely done, guys.